Welcome to the SBI Podcast, offering CEOs, sales and marketing leaders ideas to make the number.
Welcome SBI listeners, readers, and viewers. My name is Greg Alexander and I am the CEO of SBI, a management consulting firm specializing in sales and marketing, dedicated to helping you make your number. This is the weekly SBI podcast, and its purpose is to help you make your number by getting your peers to share with you how they make theirs. Today's guest is Kristen McClain, and she is the Chief Human Resources Officer at Barcodes Inc., North America's leading provider of barcode, mobile computing, point of sale, and RFID products and solutions. Kristen, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Greg. It's great to be here.
Okay, today's topic is critical success factors for new CHROs. Newly hired human resource leaders face similar challenges and opportunities in those critical first few months, and how they manage these transitions can make the difference between success and failure. Kristen took the head job at Barcodes at the beginning of this year, and she spent the last few weeks overcoming the challenges new HR leaders face, and I wanted her to share her experiences with you on today's show. We're going to use SBI's revenue growth methodology to guide our conversation today, specifically pages 197 to 214, which discusses talent strategy. If you want to follow along at home, get a copy at salesbenchmarkindex.com/2016-report. Kristen, I would like to begin our dialogue by discussing connecting the HR strategy with the CEO's corporate strategy. So if you would, could you explain for the audience what your CEO's strategy is?
Absolutely. So at Barcodes, we're a value-added reseller. So our differentiator is our ability to create solutions from a portfolio of over 10,000 different products and a suite of services that we offer our customers. So our strategy as a firm is to be the premier solutions provider in every category we represent.
Okay, very good. So I did not know you were a value-added reseller, so that's good context. So your value add, if you will, is in the solutions that you create on behalf of your customers. All right, that makes all the sense in the world. All right, now if we take that down a notch and we think about functional strategy, your function in particular, what is your HR strategy and how does that align with the corporate strategy that you just laid out for us?
Well, it's not a stretch to say at all that human capital is our product, right? We don't develop or manufacture anything at Barcodes. It's our people, more so than any other business model, that make us successful. And as a company, we have a very aggressive growth strategy. So we're going to achieve our growth both organically and through acquisition. As a result, my strategy has to reflect both of those different goals that we have as a company. So I would summarize my strategy into 4 different areas. 1, hire A players, period. Number 2, develop and retain people. Number 3, create a sustainable, scalable infrastructure for our systems, processes, and tools, which will support our growth. And lastly, ensure successful integration of all of our acquisitions.
Okay, very good. That's an extremely well articulated strategy. You know, our focus as a management consulting firm that specializes in sales and marketing, obviously we're interested in how you interact with them. And I love the way you opened up, which is as a value-added reseller, your product really is your people. It's the professional expertise of your people. And you were just able to give me a 4-point HR strategy. How does that reflect the functional strategy of your peers, particularly in marketing and sales? And maybe give us some color on those two individually.
Yeah, I can do that. So as you very aptly point out in the SBI revenue growth methodology, in order for all of us to be successful, they have to be tied together, right? So since our business launched over 20 years ago, our success has been driven directly through the strength of the individuals on our sales team and on the quality of our online marketing efforts. So our business model is driven by a huge database of current and former customers, as well as a steady incoming stream of warm leads. So let me give you a specific example of how my efforts are aligned to making our sales team successful in that sort of model. Currently, we're at 9% below our budgeted headcount due to our growth expectations within our core business. And when every single person who's productive on your sales floor directly correlates to gross profit, getting in the absolute best people and making sure that they're successful as quickly as possible directly translates to the revenue that we generate as a company. So my focus on talent acquisition as the first and foremost piece of my HR strategy means that we should spend more time doing that than anything else.
That's a great example of an HR leader and a sales leader working well together. You have a growth goal. You're a growth company. And hiring sales headcount correlates to growth. And if you're 9% below the headcount budget, then that's an area where you can help the sales leader direct some resources there and prioritize that, at least right now anyways, over some other things that you might want to do. That's just a fantastic example of how to keep these two things together with one another. When you think about the marketing strategy, and I didn't realize that your marketing strategy was based on this massive database and online marketing, those technical resources, that talent that might be expert in online marketing, is that a function of the IT department in your business, or is that a function of the marketing department? And do you take the same responsibility in terms of hiring A players in those jobs and sourcing that talent for your CMO?
I do. I think we have a unique situation here because we both do work internally and we consult externally. So we maintain our direct websites. We have a number of different websites that we own under our business umbrella. And as we continue to acquire other firms, we inherit their online presence as well. So making sure that we have the right people to create our branding, to create a compelling product and solutions story across a variety of different entities and make it a cohesive story is absolutely critical to our success. Our IT department really helps enable that through the use of more effective systems. So we're a business that I would say we're like a teenager, right? We started out as a child, and now we're kind of in that teenage growth phase, and we aspire to be a much larger adult company. And our systems aren't as sophisticated as they could be or should be. So our IT leader, our CMO, and myself work together on a constant basis to make sure that not only do our internal employees have the right system infrastructure to be successful, that we have the best possible people to put those systems in place, and that our customers have the best experience when they come to our websites externally.
So now I know why element 3 and element 4 in your HR strategy, infrastructure, i.e. systems, and integrating acquisitions, is a key part of your strategy now that you just explained what you just explained to me.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think scalability for us is really important. We went from being in one location to, in a year, having international presence in 2 other offices in the United States with no plans of stopping and an expansion plan that includes a field sales force all across this country. So our ability to scale how we treat our employees, that we articulate our employment value proposition, the way we communicate with them is critical to being able to run a much more geographically diverse enterprise than we've been in the past.
Okay, very helpful. We need to take a quick break. You are listening to the SBI podcast. We'll be back in a second.
Do you have too many things to do and not enough time to do them? Is finding time to learn best practices almost impossible? The SBI podcast is your solution. Turn time spent exercising, commuting, and traveling into productive learning time with a subscription to the SBI podcast. SBI podcast listeners get unique insight into real-world sales and marketing issues through interviews with your industry peers every week. Find us on iTunes by searching for Sales Benchmark Index Podcast and subscribe today.
Welcome back, viewers and listeners. My name is Greg Alexander, and I'm the CEO of SBI, and my guest today is Kristen McClain, who's the head of HR at Barcodes Inc. Today, we're discussing the critical success factors for a new CHRO, and we're using SBI's revenue growth method to do it. If you want to pay attention and follow along at home, turn to page 197 to 214. If you don't have a copy of this, you can get one at salesbenchmarkindex.com/2016 report. Before the break, Kristen and I discussed how she developed her HR strategy to align with the CEO strategy and how she integrated it with the strategy of her peers in sales and marketing. It was really an example of advanced strategic thinking from an HR leader. During this segment, we're going to discuss hiring profiles, talent assessments, sourcing and selecting, onboarding and developing top talent specific to the sales department. And as we just heard from Kristen, this is key to them because sales headcount equals revenue growth, and they're expanding rapidly right now. So, Kristen, let me start off by asking you, have you built hiring profiles for each role in the sales department?
Well, we're actually in the process of doing that right now. After coming into this role, I realized we weren't sourcing for the right talent because we didn't know what we were looking for. Each sales manager was looking for different things, and based on the volume we're looking to hire this year, sourcing the right profile will really help us decrease ramp-up time to productivity and maximize the gross profit that we get from every single one of our producing reps.
And as a value-added reseller, that's really the key metric for salespeople is the gross profit, correct?
It is, yes.
As opposed to if you work for the manufacturer, the metric is probably more revenue-based. Right. Okay, very good. When you joined, did you assess everyone on the sales team against these profiles? Or I guess actually you haven't built them yet, you're in the process of building. And once you have them built, will you use them just for the hiring process, or will you also use them to assess the current team?
I'd like to use them for both. Right? I think it's important to make sure that everyone within our workforce, whether they're existing or new, meets the standard that we have for success. Right? So today we do profile, or we have profiled our most successful salespeople to determine which assessments to use during the hiring process and which personality and behavioral characteristics we want to see in our people. But we need to do it in a more systematic way going forward. So since I've joined, we started a rigorous talent review schedule where we review metrics, behaviors, sales skills, and technical competencies of our entire workforce every month with our executive team.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty intensive process, but when your product is people, and when them being successful means you're successful, it's really important to make sure you have the right operational process in place.
Yeah, no question. All right, so you have these sales managers in your company, and they're doing the hiring. Sometimes standardizing the hiring process can decrease the variability and the candidates coming through the front door. And also sometimes standardizing the sourcing process can significantly improve the effectiveness and the efficiency of the recruiting cycle. So what are your plans for changing how the hiring managers source and select job candidates in the Salesforce?
Yeah. So before I got here, we were kind of in a post and hope situation. We'd post our roles, we'd see who'd fall into our net, we would screen through them, and we'd pick whoever came out top on the top of that pile. One of the first things I did actually was rewrite the job description for our sales roles with help from SBI, one of SBI's tools, your A-Player job description tool, and immediately I saw an increase in the quality of candidate that I was getting for our posting. So it was attracting a different type of person just by being written in a way that spoke to what we were looking for better. So that was really, really helpful. Now, together with the sales leaders and sales leaders teams, we're building out hiring profiles and targeted company lists to more proactively source passive talent. And to make sure we support and sustain this change, we're doing a couple things. We're reviewing resumes together and talking about what we should be looking for. We are doing interviewing training so our sales managers feel more comfortable in selecting candidates, and we're redoing our success metric criteria and interview guides so that they're all looking for the same characteristics when they review people.
Outstanding. Really just emerging best practices being deployed all over the place, which is really good. I love the phrase post and hope. With your permission, I'm going to steal that one. That is fantastic.
Yeah, it's not the most effective sourcing method.
No, not at all. All right, so let's assume that you hire some A-player talent because you're using the modern approach. Now you got to onboard them. So is there an onboarding process in place, or are you constructing that as we speak?
Our onboarding process is actually in really good shape today. Barcodes has done a great job historically as they've grown, putting a lot of emphasis, especially on technical training for people. Where we're falling behind a little bit is in the sales skills department. But overall, we have a 2.5-week onboarding in-classroom experience that every new sales hire goes through, followed by 6 months of what we call our academy. So they go on to a centralized team where they're all with the same leader, and we do training interventions every week, coaching on a daily basis, calling campaigns, teaching them how to deal with our incoming calls, with our customer service queues, everything, and they get evaluated on a regular basis now since we started this talent review process, so that they can receive direct coaching and feedback from people, not only their manager, but their mentor. And I think it's going to really help us see improvement in people even faster than we do today.
Yeah. For those people in our audience that are sales reps, you might want to check out Barcodes. I mean, anybody that would invest that kind of money in making you successful, I mean, a 2.5-week in-classroom training program. I mean, that used to be common. In fact, when I broke into sales in 1992, we did that at EMC Corporation, but it's very rare these days, and it's a shame. But I think it's very powerful. So congrats to you guys for investing that much in your new sales hires. I mean, that's going to significantly improve their chances of success.
Yeah, it's something that our CEO believes in very, very strongly. It's something that he has championed since the day he took over this business almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's great. All right, and lastly in this section, let's talk about talent development and kind of sales training programs. So we spoke a lot about the front end process, hiring, bringing somebody in during onboarding. What happens after onboarding?
Today we have a disparate number of offerings, mostly technical, that are provided by our OEMs.
Okay.
So, for instance, we have certified sales professionals in all of our different product lines. So we're a premier partner of Zebra, of Honeywell, of ScanSource, of all these other places. And they provide us with a lot of wonderful material that we utilize as ongoing training. It hasn't been my number one priority in the first 45 days to go through all of this material and create a roadmap for the future, but it will be here in the next couple months. My role to go through everything we have by role and determine what we want someone to be proficient in, both from a behavioral standpoint, a selling skills standpoint, and a technical standpoint, and develop a more robust curriculum for after the academy.
Okay, fantastic. All right, listen up, new HR leaders, those that are listening to this show. If you don't know the answers to these questions, you better figure this out ASAP. If you want to make an immediate impact on the business and establish HR as a strategic advantage inside your new company, go form a partnership with your sales leader, much like Kristen has done. The sales leader owns the revenue growth number and is usually, in a B2B context, the right hand of the CEO. Prioritize him or her immediately. All right, let's take our last quick break here. Come back after the break. We're going to wrap this up. You're listening to the SBI Podcast. You are watching SBI TV. This is a monthly web TV show featuring guests just like you, executives trying to grow their revenues. Each month, you can peek behind the scenes and watch your peers discuss their strategies for how they make their numbers. You are not going to want to miss this. Welcome back, viewers and listeners. This is Greg Alexander, and I'm the CEO of SBI. My guest today is Kristen McClain, the Chief Human Resources Officer at Barcodes Inc. Today we are discussing critical success factors for new HR leaders. In segment 1 of this show, we discussed HR strategy, and in segment 2, we spoke about partnering with the sales leader. In this segment 3, our last segment, so let's discuss with the audience maybe some advice on how to use what we learned today. So, Kristen, try and summarize what we discussed today into 3 actions an audience member can take immediately to be successful as a new HR leader.
Here's what I would say. In order to know where to focus your team, you need to understand the strategy of your business, the people all around you, both your own team members and the executive team, and what operational process you need to put in place to drive accountability and progress towards your goals. So the three things I would tell my fellow HR colleagues to do immediately are, number one, get to know as many people as you can as quickly as possible, prioritizing your team members and your key stakeholders. Number two, don't get distracted, meaning focus on those areas you believe, and a lot of which we discussed, are most important to your CEO and your peers that will add the most value to the bottom line of the business the quickest. And lastly, be patient. Set and communicate achievable plans. This is a marathon. It may feel like a sprint, but it's not. And while you want to make an impact right away, and creating lasting impact on your firm won't be done with low quality or sloppily executed work. It's better in my mind to do a few things well than do a lot of things poorly.
Yeah. Excellent takeaway value. Really great advice. Let me offer the audience my 2 cents for what it's worth. So, Mr. or Miss newly hired HR leader, you can't blow your honeymoon period. This is your chance to set the tone for how HR will be viewed inside your company. Many of you have told me that you want to elevate the HR department from tactical contributor to strategic differentiator, and I want that for you as well. The way to do that is to help the company accelerate its rate of revenue growth. And you do that by partnering effectively with the sales team. And this is why you should care about what we spoke about today. So if you find yourself in a new job, learn from Kristen's experience and make the most of your honeymoon period. She really shared with you some outstanding tips today. If you want to make sure you get this right, consider having one of our experts help you with this, for sometimes it's not as easy as you might think. If you find that interesting, go to salesbenchmarkindex.com/contact, and we will send an expert out to see you. Kristen, on behalf of my audience and everyone in our firm, thank you very much for allowing me to interview you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great. I also want to thank the audience for tuning in. This show has become #1 in its category. And we SBIers like being #1. And we're going to work really hard to stay in the top spot. So keep watching and listening. Tell all your friends about it. And thanks again for your continued support. Until next time, I wish you luck as you try and make your number.
This has been the SBI Podcast. For more information on SBI services, case studies, the SBI team and how we work, or to subscribe to our other offerings, please visit us at salesbenchmarkindex.com.